What's up everyone, Jay here with Tap and Turn Gaming, coming at you today with some more Battle for Zendikar spoilers. So this video will be our week 2 video for the spoilers for Battle for Zendikar. Last week's video we went over some pretty cool stuff. Probably the biggest highlight from that video was the new Ulamog that we're getting, which is pretty ridiculously overpowered if you ask me, but then again, it's the Eldrazi, they're supposed to be ridiculously overpowered. This week, though, we have some pretty exciting things to talk about, so let's kick it off here. The first card we're going to take a look at is this guy right here, Felidar Cub. Pretty basic. He's a 2-mana 2/2, 1 and a white for a 2/2 cat beast that you can sacrifice to destroy target enchantment. It does what it does. It's a 2-cost 2/2 that blows up an enchantment if you sacrifice it. We've seen cards like this in the past. Things like Kami of the Ancient Law from the Kamigawa block. I know there's been several other creatures like this creature. So not really too much to talk about with this guy. I really do like the art on it, though. I think the art is pretty fantastic on it. But moving on, because there's not really much to talk about this guy. Next we have Nissa's Renewal. It's a 6-cost green sorcery, so it's 5 and 1 green, that allows you to search your library for 3 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library. You gain 7 life. I'm honestly not really sure how I personally feel about this card right now. I mean, just looking at it, I want to say that I do like it. You get to fetch out 6 basics out of your deck and gain 7 life, in one spell. 6 mana probably is a good mana cost for, all of those things chalked into one card. It's just, makes me wonder, I'm all about ramp if I'm playing green in an EDH deck. I just don't know if I would personally play a 6 mana ramp spell that rips out 3 lands out of my deck when I could just play Boundless Realms for 1 more mana and get probably twice as many lands as I would with this card. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it's a pretty decent card. I probably just personally wouldn't play it. I would probably play Boundless Realms, at least from an EDH standpoint, over this card. But moving on to the next card, we have Breaker of Armies. He's a colorless Eldrazi creature. He's an 8-cost 10/8 that makes it so that all creatures able to block him do so. You could win a game just off of this guy. Every single one of your creatures, one of your opponent's creatures has to block this guy. So, if you attack in with this guy and then an army of, other creatures, all your other creatures are going to go in unblocked. And this guy, just forces your opponent to just stack all of their creatures on top of this guy to stop him. So I really do like this card. The fact that it's colorless means you can, basically play it in any deck. And it's a 10/8 body. It costs 8 mana, but, getting to 8 mana in EDH is not unheard of by any means. It's, not an easy thing to do, but it's also not a difficult thing to do either. So I really do like this guy. He could potentially, be a win condition in a deck for you. So I think he would find, a home in a lot of decks, especially decks that run a lot of tokens and things of that nature. Alright, next up is Skitter Skin. He is a 4-cost 4/3 Eldrazi drone. He has that ability Devoid, which makes it so that he technically is colorless, even though he does cost a black mana to cast. And he cannot block, and you can pay 1 and a black to regenerate him. Activate this ability only if you control another colorless creature. From an EDH standpoint, he's kind of meh, he's just basically a 4/3 body that can regenerate, but can't block. Will this card see play maybe, in, pre-release events and stuff? I could see this card being pretty good, if you go to the Battle for Zendikar pre-release and, you draft well, maybe not draft, but you crack open a lot of, colorless Eldrazi's. this guy could do some work for you. I mean, a 4/3 for 4 that can potentially regenerate itself is no joke. The fact that it can't block is a little bit of a downside, but overall, I think it's a pretty decent card. Outside of from an EDH standpoint. From an EDH standpoint, it's kind of meh. I'm not really digging it. I'm kind of indifferent towards it. Alright, next up we'll take a look at the next card, which is Coastal Discovery. It is a 4-cost blue sorcery, 3 and a blue to draw 2 cards, and it has that new ability Awaken, and this card has Awaken 4 for 5 and a blue. So basically, if you cast the card for its Awaken cost, you get to put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to the Awaken number, so in this case it would be 4. You basically get to animate one of your lands and put 4 +1/+1 counters on it. You know, from an EDH standpoint, you know, it's just another option that people can put into their deck to draw cards. I mean, 4 mana for 2 cards isn't bad. You know, plus that Awaken ability might be, you know, enticing to some people. Me personally, generally in Commander, I don't want to animate my lands into dudes because, you know, there's so many wrath effects floating around in an EDH environment. And I don't particularly want to animate those lands and have them potentially get wrathed off the board. But, you know, just from a, you know, excuse me, from a, you know, 4 mana sorcery that draws you 2 cards, it's not bad. It's really not a bad card at all. Alright, next up we have Retreat to Ameria. It's a 4-cost white enchantment, 3 and 1 white, with landfall. So whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, choose 1. You put a 1/1 white core ally creature token onto the battlefield, or creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. I really do like this enchantment a lot. I could see myself playing this in my Trostani deck, you know, or any, you know, kind of deck for that matter that has some ramp to it to get those lands out on the board to landfall. You know, the fact that you can either get 1/1 tokens or basically give your team a glorious anthem until end of turn. And it's not just, you know, for every time you play a land, you know, you can trigger either one of those abilities. So I think both of those abilities are very nice just for having a land come onto the board. You either get a guy or make your guys stronger. So I really do like it a lot. I could see myself playing this card in, you know, token strategies and stuff like that. I would probably put this card into my Trostani deck most definitely. Alright, next up we have Brewed Butcher. Another Eldrazi. He's a 5-cost 3/3. This one happens to be multicolored. Well, at least from the standpoint of what mana you need to use to cast him. It is devoid, so it has no color technically, but it costs 3, a black and a green to cast it. And when it enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Scion creature token onto the battlefield. It has sacrifice this creature, add 1 to your mana pool. So, you know, just like the Eldrazi spawns from Rise of the Eldrazi, except these tokens actually have some power to them so they can, you know, potentially attack and go in for some damage. But what I really like about this guy is his second ability where you can pay a black and a green and sacrifice a creature, and target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. I could see myself playing this in my Prosh deck most definitely, because that deck's all about generating tokens to fuel Prosh. So having this guy where I can potentially use those tokens to, you know, clear some of my opponent's stuff off the board is pretty nice. He's very similar to Phyrexian Plague Lord, except with this guy you actually do have to spend mana to into that ability of sacrificing the creature. But, you know, just off of 1 trigger, the creature will get a -2/-2, so I really do like that. I could definitely see myself playing this in my Prosh deck, maybe even some of the other decks that I have in my possession. So overall, I really do like this card a lot. Alright, next up we have Lantern Scout. It's a 3-cost 3/2 human scout ally. So I'm pretty, already really liking the card just because it's an ally. Because I loved the cycle of allies from the original Zendikar block, and I'm really holding out hope that Wizards prints a legendary ally in this set, because I would just absolutely love to build a tribal ally EDH deck. But what this guy does, it has the ally ability of Rally. So whenever Lantern Scout or another ally enters the battlefield under your control, creatures you control gain lifelink until end of turn. It's a pretty powerful ability. I could definitely see some standard decks floating around that play allies. I mean, when I still played standard, I played a red-white ally deck that was, pretty consistent. So, I mean, a 3-2 for 3 isn't bad either. From an EDH standpoint, like I said, if Wizards makes a legendary ally, I'll be in heaven. But, you have to, have this guy enter. Well, I mean, having this guy enter the board isn't difficult. There's plenty of ways to flicker creatures in and out in Commander. You have like Cloud Shift and Ghostly Flicker and Momentary Blink and Conjurer's Closet, Deadeye Navigator. I mean, the list goes on. So, you can get, multiple triggers just off of this guy entering the battlefield to give your team lifelink. So, I mean, I could see this guy, finding a home in Flicker type decks and things of that nature. So overall, I really do like this card a lot. It really does call to me, and like I said, 2 other times already, I'm really holding out hope that Wizards prints a legendary ally, so I can have some fun with that in Commander. Alright, next up we have Drowner of Hope. He is a 6-cost 5/5 Eldrazi. He also has Devoid, so he has no color, but he does cost a blue to cast, so he's 5 and 1 blue. When he enters the battlefield, put 2 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Scion creature tokens onto the battlefield. They have sacrifice this creature, blah blah blah, get 1 to your mana pool. His second ability is you can sacrifice an Eldrazi Scion to tap target creature. It's a pretty cool ability, just the fact that you can only sacrifice Eldrazi Scions to trigger that ability could make it, good in standard, or, like a pre-release event or something like that. If you happen to crack open a bunch of Eldrazi. From an EDH standpoint, probably not so much. He only brings in 2 with him. Who knows how many cards that we're going to have in the set that actually bring Eldrazi Scions onto the board. So, this guy, from an EDH standpoint, is very, dependent on how many Eldrazi Scions you're getting on the board, so he can actually tap stuff down. Other than that, he's basically just a 6-cost 5/5 that brings 2 1/1s with him. So, I mean, overall, it's not a bad card. Would I play it in a Commander deck? Probably not. Although that would depend on, how many, like I said, how many cards that they're going to make in this set, and potentially the next set in the block that, bring in Eldrazi creature tokens, Eldrazi Scions, that is. Alright, next up we have a pretty exciting card. It's the first Planeswalker that was spoiled in the set, and here it is. We have Gideon, Ally of Zendikar. He's a 4-cost white Planeswalker. He costs 2 and 2 white. He comes in with 4 loyalty, and his first ability is until end of turn, he becomes a 5/5 human soldier ally creature with indestructible that's still a Planeswalker. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to him this turn. Very, very similar to basically all of his other iterations' first ability, where he can just animate himself into a guy and just smack your opponent's face. I mean, they pretty much printed him like that in every iteration with that first ability. So, I mean, it's not a bad ability by any means. I just would like to see something different from him with that first ability. And Gideon's second ability is 0, so he doesn't gain or lose any loyalty counters. But this ability kind of does tickle my fancy a little bit because I really love the knight creature type in Magic. So his second ability is 0, put a 2/2 white knight ally creature token onto the battlefield. Basically just get you a 2/2 guy on the board, but it is also an ally, so it would trigger any other rally effects that you have on the board, which is pretty nice. I just like it because the creature is also a knight, and I just like knights. And his last ability is -4. You get an emblem with creatures you control, get +1/+1. So basically, he gives you a glorious anthem. Overall, I do like him. I feel like that last ability for a Planeswalker's final ability is a little bit underwhelming. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad by any means. Getting a static glorious anthem that your opponents just can't get rid of is pretty nice. Always having that constant +1/+1 on your creatures definitely is not a bad thing by any means. I do like it. I just feel like compared to some other Planeswalkers that have been printed, it's a little bit underwhelming. Compared to some of the ridiculous things that other Planeswalkers can do. But overall, I do like him. The only gripe that I have about him is just that first ability, man. Like, it just... They make that ability basically the same damn thing every time. Every time they print a Gideon, that first ability is generally always the same. He animates into a guy that is indestructible and gets all damage prevented to him. Not saying that that's a bad thing. I would just, I would enjoy seeing something different, that's just my take on it. It's just the same every time, and I would just like to see them do something different with, one of those abilities that he has. Alright, so that is Gideon. Next up, we have some really exciting stuff to look at. So, as a lot of you know, full art lands are making a return in this set. Full art basics and things of that nature. So on that note, the next couple things we're going to talk about is lands. So we have a completely new cycle of dual lands in this set, and let's take a look at those. And here they are. So these are the new 5 dual lands that we're going to get in Battle for Zendikar. We have Prairie Stream, Sunken Hollow, Smoldering Marsh, Cinderglade, and Canopy Vista. And they all have an ability where when it enters, it enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. So, it's pretty solid. You could potentially have these come in untapped pretty frequently. And another exciting thing about these is the land subtypes. They're not just lands, they have the basic land subtypes on them. So essentially, like the Ravnica Shock lands and the original dual lands. A lot of people are very excited about this because, this means that you can fetch them up with the Khans of Tarkir fetch lands. So, I'm sure standard players out there are pretty excited about that. I'm pretty excited about it too. Just seeing a new cycle of lands always is a very interesting thing to take a look at. But the fact that they do have the basic land subtypes, Prairie Stream is white-blue, so it's a plains island. Sunken Hollow, blue-black, and island swamp. Smoldering Marsh, black-red, swamp mountain, so on and so on. Cinderglade is red-green. Canopy Vista is green-white. So, the fact that they have those basic land subtypes means that you can, fetch them out. With the Khans of Tarkir fetch lands, the original Zendikar fetch lands, stuff like that. So, it does make these a lot more enticing to play over some other lands. Overall, I really do like the new cycle here. A lot of people are calling these the Tango lands, I guess, on the internet right now. because they only come in untapped if you control 2 or more basic lands. So, tango lands, it takes 2 to tango. So, yeah, I guess that's what they're kind of being nicknamed right now all over the web, is the tango lands. But overall, I really do like them a lot, and the fact that they have the basic land subtypes makes them even more enticing. Now, on the same note as cool new lands, we have some really cool stuff to look at here. This next batch of lands are called Zendikar Expedition lands, so let's take a look at those. These are full art promotional cards. So as you can see up here, these are premium mythic rares that can be opened up in Battle for Zendikar packs. From what I've read online, the consistency of pulling one of these is like the same same chance that you would get of pulling like a foil mythic rare in a booster pack. So, the chances are slim, but the chances are there. The first couple that were spoiled were the Steam Vents and this lovely land right here, Arid Mesa, which, as you all probably well know, is one of the original Zendikar fetch lands. So from what I can tell, we already see, the Prairie Stream, Sunken Hollow, the Smoldering Marsh, Cinderglade, and Canopy Vista, which are the, 5 new dual lands that we just saw that are going to be in the set. Well, they're going to be full art versions of all of those that you can potentially get in booster packs, along with, Arid Mesa is one. I mean, there are more of these. I've heard there's either, I think Derek told me there was 45 of them, maybe not 45, maybe 25 of these, expedition lands that, you'll have a chance to pull in a Battle for Zendikar pack. And also here, we see Godless Shrine, Steam Vents, Hallowed Fountain. Those are obviously the Ravnica shock lands making a return as well. With full art, these just look amazing. I especially love the Hallowed Fountain. It just looked beautiful. So that's a very, very exciting thing to look forward to with Battle for Zendikar. The fact that these expedition lands, you're going to have a chance to pull these, I feel like, we're kind of going into a different topic here. As far as, price goes, like at your local game store for a booster box of, Battle for Zendikar, I would not be surprised whatsoever, if some local game stores will, upcharge for booster boxes of this set because of the hype that's surrounding it, and, the chance that you can crack open these lands in your packs. It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever, if, generally a price for a booster box, from my experience, is somewhere between, 110 and maybe, 120. That's just from my personal experience. That's generally how much I've paid in the past for them. I would not be surprised whatsoever to see booster boxes of this, exceed that amount. Just because of the hype that's surrounding the set and the fact that these lands were spoiled and, you have a chance to pull these. I believe Star City Games is already doing pre-orders on these lands. And Derek was telling me about it the other day. And, I believe he said they're already doing pre-orders on these, and, the cost on some of them is like $150. So, I mean, that's a little ridiculous. Nothing against Star City Games. I do, I buy stuff from them all the time. If I'm building an EDH deck, and I don't have certain cards on hand, I do get cards from them very frequently. But, just the fact that these are already available for pre-order in some places, and the fact that they're that much money, just, leads me to believe that, some places, not all, I don't believe, all places will charge you, more than MSRP for a booster box of this, but I feel like some places might, just because of the hype surrounding it and the potential that you have to crack these lands here, might just drive up the price. I've also seen a lot of things online where people are saying, oh, go out and pre-order now. You have to pre-order now, because, local game stores are saying, oh, we're only getting so many boxes of this and blah, blah, don't let anybody kind of bully you into spending more money on this set, or making you feel like that if you don't go out and act now and pre-order a box now, that you won't get your hands on any. Wizards, had a plan with this set, and there's no way in hell that they're gonna make this set super, super limited. This set is gonna probably, I would have to speculate that this set will probably be one of the most open sets in the history of this game. Everybody loved the original Zendikar block. Everybody's super hyped for this set. All these promotional full art lands, you could potentially crack open in packs. Wizards, I might have said Blizzard, but I meant Wizards. Wizards, knows what they're doing, and they know this set's going to make a ton of money. So there's no way that they're going to, have limited print runs of this. You'll be able to find, maybe the week of launch, maybe some places will have limited stock. Maybe they'll only get, X amount of cases of booster boxes or whatnot. But I can probably, be rest assured that, no matter where I go, I'll be able to find Battle for Zendikar booster packs. I just feel like there's no way in hell that they're going to make it a limited thing, because they know it's going to make a ton of money, so they're going to print a ton of it. But anyways, that's all I really wanted to rant about there, about the availability of this, and the potential for some places to upcharge you more than MSRP for a booster box. If some places do, if you're willing to spend the extra money just because you want to get your hands on it right then and there, that's your prerogative. If you want to go ahead and do that. I just feel like you shouldn't, allow places to swindle you into spending more money on this set when it's going to be so readily available. I just feel like there's no way it's going to be, so limited that you'll have to struggle to find this product. Alright, but anyways, guys, that about concludes this spoiler video for Battle for Zendikar. I really hope you did enjoy it. If you did, leave me some feedback in the comment section below the video. Like this video if you want to see us do more spoiler videos like this one. And if you're not already subscribed to our channel, please hit that subscribe button. We really do appreciate it. Like I said, in the comments, let me know what you think of these cards. Speculation, things of that nature, cards that you're looking forward to the most. I really do love to hear you guys' feedback, so by all means, leave me some comments below. But this has been Jay with Tap and Turn Gaming. Again, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and we'll catch you later. Thanks a lot for watching.